I learned 3 brutal yet unforgettable lessons in 2024 that I want to give you for free that will keep you from being a loser, yet potentially give you monumental success in the year of 2025. Hi, my name is Ron Early. I'm the owner and CEO of Grey Wolf Investing, and I went millions in debt before partnering with the trillion-dollar company Amazon. And these are lessons I'm leaving behind for my children that if you take the time to listen to, might also change your life. First day vlogging, just pulled up to the gym, about to hit chests, knock out this YouTube video, get people right. Also get right in the meantime. You should join me. Cheers. Itchy. Very first lesson is you have to leave people where they are. And what do I mean by that? If you're in a business role, like you're a CEO of a company or a business owner, or if you're in any kind of leadership role, or even if you just have like leadership attributes, tendencies, qualities, you want the best for people, you try to do your best for people so you can bring the best out of those people. But it doesn't always work that way. You cannot drag somebody to success or to fulfillment that isn't ready to achieve that. Like you cannot do it for them. You can't make it happen, no matter how much you care about the person. And I personally experienced this because I met somebody on the climb when I first acquired Automation Empire. And I thought they were going to be great. They went through a lot of the same things that I went through, personal issues. There was a lot of things that I saw that they had to overcome. And they had their own attributes that I thought would be a really good asset to the company. And I trusted this person so much. Like I had them around my wife, my kids, you know, for name's sake, I'll leave it out, just out of a sense of respect. It just started to get to a point where it almost was like they weren't getting enough recognition. And that became abundantly clear to me later on, because people in the company wouldn't speak up for the fact that they were taking credit for everybody else's work. So they weren't getting like the notoriety, right? It was like never really enough, which destroys a team. Which is one of those terrible things. Like you don't keep moldy food in your house, right? Because it's gonna ruin the rest of the food. You can't keep moldy people in your circle. And if you've ever been in a company, typically they do like an annual audit. You gotta do this quarterly. And you gotta get rid of people, you gotta get rid of them quick. And if you run into yourself into a situation like I did, the best thing that you can do is just create a safe space for people that are afraid to talk, especially in a situation like that where somebody means a lot and they have a high ranking position, so people are afraid to talk. Create a one-on-one spot with those people so they can talk freely. And even if they don't, try to figure out what things have been communicated. Like in this particular case, everybody had heard a story from this one person, but the story was always different. That's an immediate red flag. So take the time to do the audit. The audit's very, very important. Get rid of those people as fast as possible because it won't just destroy you and destroy your energy, it'll completely destroy anything that you build and any team that you're trying to put together. Lesson number 2 is accepting situations for what they are. Fighting reality will never change anything, it actually overcomplicates it. But taking the time to slow down and process where you're at in real time will allow you to have the clarity to be able to move out of whatever you're sitting in and come out of a bad situation. Last year was a tough one because I had a multi-million-dollar business with a couple hundred people's investment money on the line, and the government ruled out the Inform Act, which put half of wholesalers out of business last year. I almost lost my 3-year-old daughter, got diagnosed a disease I won't disclose, had emergency surgery myself, and I felt like my world was falling apart. The problem is, some of those things I can't control, but when you get so stirred up in the chaos and you're in this woe is me thing, you're like in fight or flight. When you're in fight or flight like that, like you'll do anything that you can to survive, but the problem is you're not thinking logically. And until you get a chance to slow down, it's kind of like hunting. When you shoot an animal, like a deer specifically, if you don't get a direct shot that puts a deer down, the caliber is not big enough, or you just getting that mark, it takes off because it adrenaline spikes. And if it just keeps going, it eventually bleeds out with its blood pumping, coursing through its veins. It's pouring out. It eventually bleeds out and dies. Unless it finds a place to slow down, cauterize the wound, it'll keep moving until it dies out. You're going to end up doing the same thing, essentially, if you don't find a time to sit down, figure out what's going on, assess the situation, and then mindfully figure out what steps can be done, if even any of those steps can be done, because some things you just have no control over. You can find outsource things to kind of fix and help navigate out of some of those situations, but you might not be able to ever fix those things entirely. But you can't even help the situation unless you take the time to slow down and figure out what it is that you need to do to get it done. So You have to accept situations for what they are. And number 3 is react to nothing. Not everything needs a reaction. Definitely not all actions need a reaction. And sometimes silence speaks volumes. So take the time and fight your battles wisely. Maybe live in a world with instant gratification, social media, people are looking for instant responses. One of the most powerful things in the world that you can do is not give an immediate response. And we have these intrusive thoughts and everybody's in this mind frame where it's speak your mind, speak your mind, speak your mind. All you're doing is sparking and triggering arguments a lot of times, and that's all that people are looking for. So when you give that alleviance, you both look wrong and you never get to deading an argument. One of the most and best things that you could do is just be quiet. And typically the calmest person in the conversation or in the argument turns out to look the most right. And it's better to play the role and be more impactful of being disappointed in somebody than being angry at somebody. Angry just it creates more hostility, right? The last thing in the world that we want to do is create more hostility. And one of the lessons that I taught my son too, that I feel like everybody should be mindful of. What's important about anger?
If you're controlling anger, it's a strength. If anger is controlling you, it's a weakness.
And it's a superpower, is being mindful of the fact that when anger controls you, you're losing. But when you control anger, it's now a superpower. That's something that you should never forget. I hope you didn't just enjoy the information in this video, but you consider it and you use it. Most times people don't know how to express themselves, but this is the perfect place for you to practice it. So drop your thoughts below, especially if you want to see, hear, or learn something next. Take a second to tap that subscribe button right there, and I will see you in the next one.